Well, it's too bad. I don't know why the president's afraid to participate in a debate. You know, all of us have had to get used to virtual formats, right? I mean, parents are having to deal with e-learning, which in some cases, is not what we're used to. Well, it's always not what we're used to. I mean, we're having to take meetings over Zoom. It's not something I think most of us enjoy, but it's a safety measure. And I think part of why the U.S. is falling behind, is badly behind the rest of the developed world on dealing with the pandemic is because every time there's been a choice between doing something in a way that's more safe or less safe, this president seems to push for less safe. I think it's also probably a reflection of the weakness of his campaign. When you see campaigns getting the kind of bad news that he's been getting through this month, a lot of times you'll see these kinds of increased arguments over rules, withdrawing from opportunities, a little bit of flailing there. And it's too bad because I think, the more the American people can hear two candidates side by side, even if it's virtual, the better. Of course, the only reason we're here in the first place is that the president of the United States is still contagious, as far as we know, with a deadly disease, which reflects the overall problem. And I don't know why you would want to be in a room with other people if you were contagious with a deadly disease and you care about other people. But maybe the president doesn't care about other people.
I've been conflicted about going on Fox News and legitimizing that network, but if you are going to go on Fox, this is exactly how you do it. Pete's segment came in the aftermath of the debate commission announcing that the next presidential debate between Trump and Biden on October 15th would be virtual, which might have something to do with the fact that, I don't know, one of the candidates is infected with a deadly virus and seems hell-bent on spreading it to as many other people as is humanly possible. And in response, the Trump campaign threw a temper tantrum and threatened to hold a rally instead, likely expecting that the debate commission and the Biden campaign would reverse course. So, the Biden campaign called their bluff and scheduled a primetime town hall with only Joe Biden instead, meaning that Trump just whined himself out of one of the last chances to make his appeal to the American people. Apparently, stomping your feet and pounding the table isn't a good strategy after all. And here's the thing about that. Trump is behind in literally every single poll. He's trailing even in polls in historically red states. He's on the defensive. It's him who has to convince the American people to change their minds. He had two final chances to do that, and yet he and his campaign are so ham-handed and obtuse that they just gambled away one of those two moments. But hey, art of the deal, right? Here's the thing. If Trump doesn't like virtual formats, one option to have prevented that would have been to contain the virus months ago. If he didn't want everything to be forced to go virtual, instead of pretending that the virus was contained, or that it would go away with the heat, or that it would miraculously disappear, he could have taken actual helpful measures to solve the problem. But he didn't, meaning that he let the virus spread uninhibited across the country. Being forced to go virtual is a result of his own mismanagement. So if he wants to complain here, then he has only himself to blame. But this is all part of a broader strategy of denialism being employed by the Trump administration and campaign. They think that by virtue of pretending that the virus isn't here, that they can will it out of existence. So they want no masks and no PPE and no plexiglass barriers at debates because their MO here isn't to protect the American people, it's to perpetuate this PR campaign where everything is A-okay and they've done a stellar job. But bear in mind, a PR campaign is all that this is because everything is not A-okay and they've not done a stellar job. We have 210,000 deaths. We're losing 1,000 Americans a day. We have 8% unemployment. 11 million Americans have lost their jobs. This is objectively a disaster of historic proportions, and they have no plan besides pretending that everything is fine. So no, not in a million years should Joe Biden meet in person with Donald Trump, who has proven himself to be a walking super spreader for this virus. If Donald Trump wants to infect himself and his staff and his family, so be it. But Biden's entire campaign has been predicated on addressing this virus in a safe and responsible manner. And the safest way to deal with a president who refuses to acknowledge reality is not to even be in the same room as him. And the American people should take this as a lesson. This is a man who can't even protect himself. How on earth could you expect him to protect you?